So you mean to tell me Clive Davis has passed away at the age of 94? I woke up shocked this morning because this man has single-handedly outlived majority of the artists he was connected to.
Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beaten. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub like...
Contrary to the coroner's conclusion that her death was accidental, Hubel claims that Houston's body shows classic defense wounds consistent with someone fighting for her life.
Saying that everything that happens in a business that's based off of pretend that seems like a setup is.
Clive Davis has passed away, and many Whitney Houston fans are saying it was long overdue. That reaction may sound harsh at first, but once you understand Clive's complicated history with Whitney, it's easier to see why so many people feel that way. There's no denying that Clive played a major role in discovering and developing some of the greatest artists in music history. But two truths can exist at the same time. He had an incredible ability to recognize talent, yet he was also surrounded by serious allegations ranging from mishandling artists' finances to even being connected to their untimely deaths. Whitney Houston was one of the artists whose name has repeatedly come up in those conversations. Clive lived to the age of 94, while Whitney's life was tragically cut short at just 48. From the very beginning, the official explanations surrounding her death left many people with unanswered questions. Even today, countless music fans remain convinced that Whitney's death wasn't simply a tragic accident and believe Clive played a much darker role. And it's not only fans who have raised those suspicions. Comedian Cat Williams has repeatedly argued that whenever something in the entertainment industry appears carefully orchestrated, there's usually more happening behind the scenes than the public is allowed to see. So when someone as iconic as Whitney Houston dies, many people believe someone in the background always finds a way to profit from that loss.
Everything that happens in a business that's based off of pretend, that seems like a setup, is.
In business, nothing is coincidental, or you would be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up.
Speaking of money, Clive Davis was also among the people who financially benefited after Whitney Houston's passing. Here's why. Back in 2001, Whitney signed a record-breaking $100 million contract with Clive's label, Arista Records. At the time, it was considered the biggest recording deal the music industry had ever seen. Clive personally negotiated that agreement, and like many major record contracts, it functioned as a massive advance that first had to be earned back. In other words, Whitney needed to recover that money through album sales before she could receive additional royalty payments. But by the time she passed away in 2012, her financial situation had reportedly become extremely difficult. Reports claimed she was carrying millions of dollars in debt and had become financially dependent on Clive. He reportedly provided her with loans, helped cover the debt on her home, and even financed her rehab expenses. At that point, Clive wasn't just running her record label, he had essentially become her personal lender. Industry insiders have also claimed that Whitney's estate still owed millions to Arista and Sony, because those advances and financial obligations were never fully repaid. And this is where things become especially controversial. Right after Whitney's death, demand for her music exploded, causing album sales and streaming revenue to soar. Much of that income went toward settling the debts she had accumulated, including the advances and loans reportedly owed to Clive Davis and Sony. But the story doesn't end there. According to reports, Whitney's estate is still paying down those financial obligations today. One record executive even suggested that Whitney's estate may never generate a royalty check for her heirs in our lifetime, because the debt continues to absorb the earnings. That means Clive, or whoever now controls his business empire, could continue earning money connected to Whitney's catalog for many years to come. Unfortunately, critics argue this isn't an unusual pattern in the music industry. They often point to Michael Jackson as another example. When Michael died, reports estimated he was carrying roughly $500 million in debt, much of it tied to substantial loans connected to Sony. Yet within only 5 years of his death, his estate had reportedly generated more than $800 million before eventually crossing the billion-dollar mark. Much of that success came from licensing his music, image, and previously unreleased material, without Michael himself having any control over those decisions. Because of situations like these, some people believe that once a superstar stops generating enough revenue and begins costing a label more than they earn, they can become financially more valuable after death than while they're still alive. And that brings us to the circumstances surrounding Whitney Houston's death and Clive Davis's controversial actions on the night it happened. On February 11th, 2012, just hours before the Grammy Awards, Whitney was found face down in the bathtub of her room at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. The initial reports concluded that she accidentally drowned after suffering heart problems while under the influence of intoxicating substances. However, later reports stated that Whitney had several bruises and abrasions across her face and body that some believed looked consistent with signs of a struggle. Forensic pathologist Cyril Vecht also questioned several aspects of the case. He pointed out that the bathwater was reportedly hot enough to cause severe burns. That raised an obvious question. Are we really expected to believe Whitney intentionally stepped into water that hot for a relaxing bath? According to Vecht, a more plausible explanation was that she was already unconscious, dying, or even dead before ending up in the bathtub. In an interview with ABC News, Vecht said he believed Whitney was unconscious, dead, or close to death before entering the tub, and added that he did not believe drowning was the true cause of death. Private investigator Paul Hubel later echoed similar concerns. Hubel, a former police officer known for investigating several high-profile celebrity deaths, claimed Whitney's injuries resembled classic defensive wounds. He suggested she may have been assaulted by someone who also supplied the substances she consumed that evening. According to Hubel, the marks covering Whitney's body were so extensive that they looked like injuries from a boxing match. As he put it, people are free to call it an accident, but in his opinion, the evidence simply didn't add up. And according to Hubel, that wasn't even the most troubling part. He claimed he was informed that surveillance footage from the Beverly Hilton allegedly showed two unidentified men entering Whitney's hotel suite that night. When the National Enquirer later asked why investigators never pursued that alleged footage, Hubel responded by claiming that both police and the coroner were satisfied labeling Whitney's death as accidental and quickly closing the case. Still, several other unusual events reportedly unfolded that night and during the days leading up to Whitney's death. One of the most talked about moments involved the mysterious note she handed to Brandy. Just 2 days before the Grammy Awards, Whitney unexpectedly walked into an interview featuring Clive Davis, Brandy, and Monica before quietly passing a handwritten note to Brandy. The entire incident was captured on video. What's even stranger is that if you listen closely, Whitney can reportedly be heard saying twice, "I nearly drowned today." Now let's take a closer look at Clive Davis's reaction after Whitney died, because this is where many people believe the story becomes even more disturbing. After Clive was informed that Whitney had been found dead in her hotel room, he reportedly announced that his Grammy after-party would continue as scheduled. Think about that for a moment. Whitney had just died upstairs, yet her body remained in the hotel while Clive and dozens of celebrities continued eating, drinking, dancing, and celebrating downstairs. The decision sparked immediate public criticism, but Clive defended it, insisting the event served as a tribute to Whitney and claiming it was exactly what she would have wanted.
But the Grammys were the next night. You don't cancel. You turn an evening into a tribute.
Whitney's family and those closest to her strongly rejected that explanation. They insisted that continuing the celebration was the exact opposite of what Whitney would have wanted. One of her longtime friends in the music industry, Chaka Khan, publicly criticized Clive Davis over the decision. She said moving forward with the party after Whitney's death wasn't a tribute at all. It was pure insanity.
You were, I think, going to go to the Clive Davis party.
Yes.
It was a surreal event where Whitney's body was still in the hotel, and there was this sort of party where apparently half the room were in tears, the other half were kind of partying. What did you feel about that?
I thought that was complete insanity. And knowing Whitney, I don't believe that she would have said, the show must go on. She was the kind of woman that would say, stop everything. I'm not going to be there. You know, I don't know what could motivate a person to have a party in a building where the person whose life he had influenced so enormously and whose life had been affected by her. So they were like, I don't understand how that party.
Chaka Khan didn't stop there. She also dismissed Clive's claim that the after-party was meant to honor Whitney, calling that explanation completely unbelievable. According to Shaka, if Clive had truly wanted to pay tribute to Whitney, the respectful thing to do would have been to end the evening, gather everyone for a prayer, and send people home. Instead, the celebration continued with drinks, music, and partying as if nothing had happened. In her eyes, there was nothing respectful or heartfelt about that decision.
Right.
And I think he took the decision to turn it into a tribute to her. And I understand that. I mean, he obviously was wrestling with the right thing to do.
That would have been right if it really was a true tribute. And, and a true tribute, might have been a more honest tribute in my opinion, would have been maybe call everybody together, let's say a prayer, and let's eat dinner and go home. I couldn't get dressed. I was supposed to go to the party. I just got off a plane from Miami at about 5:30. As soon as I hit the tarmac, I found out, I heard, and I couldn't put on makeup. I couldn't get dressed. I couldn't do anything. I was paralyzed. I couldn't do anything.
That naturally raises another question. Was there something more going on behind that party? Why was Clive Davis so determined to make sure the celebration continued no matter what had happened? Over the years, several theories have been suggested. One of the most widely discussed among Whitney's fans is the belief that the party served as some kind of ritual following what they believe was Whitney's sacrifice. At first glance, that idea might sound far-fetched, but supporters of the theory point to one particular detail they find difficult to explain. According to them, Clive allegedly insisted that Whitney's body remain where it was until the after-party had finally ended. CBS News reported that Whitney's body stayed inside her hotel room for several hours after emergency responders officially pronounced her dead. Meanwhile, downstairs, Clive Davis's lavish Grammy party continued exactly as planned. As investigators moved throughout the hotel, guests dressed in elegant gowns and black tie attire continued making their way toward the red carpet as if nothing unusual had happened. Another report claimed Whitney remained in her fourth-floor suite until just before the party wrapped up, shortly after midnight. And that's not the only strange detail people continue to question. Out of everyone attending the event who actually knew Whitney, Clive chose Diddy to deliver the speech honoring her. Only a few days after the Grammy Awards, Diddy appeared on The Ellen DeGeneres Show. When Ellen asked him about the remarks he gave that evening, viewers noticed that Diddy suddenly appeared uncomfortable, nervous, and noticeably uneasy. Take a look for yourself.
I know that you were one of the first ones at Clive's party to speak about Whitney's passing the other day.
Yes.
And that was, did you know her well?
Yes, I did. I actually, when I was growing up in the music industry before I had success, I somehow got on her wedding invitation. So I was at her wedding, but I didn't really know her.
So why would Clive Davis choose Diddy, of all people, to speak about Whitney while her body was still lying upstairs? The choice has puzzled a lot of people. Diddy was never known as one of Whitney's close friends. In fact, he had previously criticized her, even blaming Whitney for what he believed was Bobby Brown's downfall. But the story gets even stranger. Once Clive's Grammy after-party finally came to an end, most of the guests headed home. Diddy didn't. Instead, he hosted another party later that same night at the Playboy Mansion. According to reports, the celebration became so intense that it eventually landed him in the hospital. On February 13th, TMZ reported that Diddy had been hospitalized the previous night after suffering a severe migraine shortly after returning home from the post-Grammy party he threw at the Playboy Mansion. So, according to this timeline, while many people believed Whitney's death had left everyone devastated, Diddy spent the night partying until he reportedly became ill. And that's the very person Clive Davis selected to deliver remarks honoring Whitney while her body remained upstairs in the hotel. It's details like these that have fueled theories claiming there was something much darker happening behind the scenes. Now, does any of this prove that Clive Davis was responsible for Whitney Houston's death? Absolutely not. But at the same time, many people argue that it's difficult to look at everything that happened and conclude he truly had Whitney's best interests at heart. At the end of the day, the decision is yours. Do you agree with Cat Williams' claim that certain deaths in the entertainment industry are orchestrated because someone ultimately profits from them? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.